The vast chamber of the Zoraxian High Council fell silent as Elder Mox rose from his seat. His gray scales shimmered under the pale blue lights. 6 tentacles waved slowly as he pointed to the holographic display in the center of the room. Our resources dwindle. Our empire's growth has stopped. We must expand or face decline, Elder Mox said. The hologram shifted to show a spiral galaxy rotating slowly. It glowed with a soft, milky light against the darkness of space. The neighboring galaxy has everything we need. Metals, water, habitable worlds, Elder Mox continued. Young council member Vex moved forward, her scales still bright with youth. Elder, the ancient texts mark this galaxy with warnings. Our ancestors called it the Forbidden Galaxy for a reason. Elder Mox made a dismissive gesture. Superstitions from a primitive time. We have conquered 100 worlds in Andromeda. What could one small galaxy hold that the mighty Zoraxian Imperium should fear? 3 days later, Captain Krell stood on the bridge of the warship Conqueror *. It was the pride of the Zoraxian fleet, built with technology perfected over 10,000 years. Through the main viewport, the spiral arms of the Milky Way stretched out before them. All systems ready, Captain, reported Navigator Zex. We can enter the galaxy in any location you choose. Krell's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of deep thought among his kind. Science Officer Vex, what do we know of inhabited systems? Vex, newly assigned from the Council, brought up a scan on the main display. There is one system with clear signs of technology. Not advanced by our standards, but the most developed we can detect. 3rd planet from a yellow star. Set course, ordered Krell. We will begin there. Standard protocol. Observe, assess, and prepare for resource extraction. Across the galaxy, in a very different command center, Admiral John Carter of Earth Defense Force stared at his own set of screens. The large underground complex beneath the Rocky Mountains housed Earth's primary defense headquarters. Sir, we're detecting unusual readings near Neptune, reported Lieutenant Greg Evans. His fingers flew over the control panel as he enhanced the signal. Carter frowned. He was a tall man with short gray hair and deep wrinkles earned from 20 years protecting Earth from threats that rarely materialized. Until now. Show me, he ordered. The main screen lit up with data streams and sensor readings. Multiple objects, moving faster than anything humans had ever built, had crossed into the solar system. Get me Sam Peterson on comms, Carter said, naming the commander of the Neptune research base, and notify all defense platforms. Condition yellow. Minutes later, Peterson's face appeared on screen. The young commander looked concerned. Admiral, we've got visual confirmation. These aren't natural objects or any known phenomena. Peterson sent a video feed showing distant lights moving with purpose, changing direction in ways that defied physics as humans understood it. How many? Asked Carter. At least 12 large vessels and numerous smaller craft. Sir, they're not ours. Carter took a deep breath. Humanity had wondered for centuries if they were alone in the universe. That question was about to be answered definitively. Upgrade to condition red, he ordered. But no aggressive moves. I want all ships on alert but holding position. As alarms began to sound throughout Earth's defense network, Carter opened a secure line to the White House. Madam President, I need to speak with you immediately. We have a first contact situation. In the coldness of space, the Zoraxian vessels accelerated toward the inner solar system. Captain Krell studied the scans of Earth with growing interest. This planet has abundant water, minerals, and a breathable atmosphere, he noted. And the dominant species appears to have basic spaceflight capabilities, but nothing that could possibly challenge us. Science Officer Vex looked troubled. Captain, I'm detecting unusual energy readings from their orbital platforms. Their technology may be more advanced than we initially assessed. Krell made the Zoraxian equivalent of a laugh, a low vibration that rippled his scales. Prepare the scout ships. We will follow standard protocol. If they resist, they will learn why the Zoraxian Imperium has remained undefeated for 10,000 years. The Conqueror continued its approach, unaware that they were about to encounter the one thing the Zoraxian Imperium had never faced before: humanity. The Zoraxian scout ships entered the solar system with quiet efficiency. They moved past the gas giants, their advanced stealth systems making them nearly invisible to most human sensors. Captain Krell watched from the bridge of the Conqueror as his scouts began their work. "Stay beyond their detection range," he ordered. "Observe their defenses and communication patterns." The lead scout ship commander, Zorn, acknowledged the orders. His smaller vessel approached the asteroid belt, scanning everything in its path. "These humans have mining operations throughout this region. Primitive technology, but effective enough for their needs." Krell felt the familiar thrill of discovery mixed with conquest. Every new species they had encountered followed the same pattern: initial resistance, then submission when faced with overwhelming power. These humans would be no different. "Continue inward," he ordered. "I want a complete assessment of their military capabilities." On the Mars orbital station, Lieutenant Kate Miller floated at her monitoring station. The small military outpost served as an early warning system for Earth. She sipped her coffee and watched the sensors, not expecting anything unusual on her shift. When the first alert pinged, she nearly spilled her drink. "That can't be right," she muttered, running a diagnostic. The computer showed an object moving at impossible speeds near Jupiter's orbit. When the diagnostic confirmed all systems normal, she opened a channel to Earth. "Command, this is Mars Outpost. I'm tracking an unidentified object near Jupiter. It doesn't match any known signature." At Earth Defense Headquarters, Admiral Carter leaned forward in his chair. "Send visual confirmation if possible." Kate adjusted the deep space telescopes. "Sending now, sir." The image that appeared on screens both on Mars and Earth showed a sleek, bronze-colored vessel with an unusual oval shape. It was clearly artificial and clearly not human. "All defense forces on high alert," Carter ordered. "But still no aggressive moves. We don't know their intentions." The Zoraxian scout ship detected the human observation and reported back to the Conqueror "Captain, they'd spotted us," Zorn reported. "Their primitive sensors managed to break through our stealth field." Krell blinked his 4 eyes in sequence. "Interesting. Perhaps they are more advanced than we thought." He considered the situation briefly. "Proceed with standard protocol. Disable one of their outposts to demonstrate our superiority. Choose something small and isolated." The scout ships changed course, heading for the Jupiter Research Station, a small scientific outpost with a crew of 15 humans studying the gas giant. On the station, Dr. Ryan Cooper was analyzing atmospheric samples when the alarms blared. "What's happening?" he asked, floating toward the control center. Station Chief Maria Alvarez looked at the sensors with wide eyes. "Unknown vessels approaching. They're not responding to hails." The Zoraxian scouts surrounded the station. With surgical precision, they fired energy beams that disabled the station's power systems without destroying it. The humans inside felt the station go dark as emergency lights flickered on. "Send distress signal," Maria shouted, but it was too late. Their communications were already jammed. The attack was detected immediately by Earth's defense network. Admiral Carter's face turned grim as he watched the feed from nearby satellites. "They've disabled Jupiter Station," reported his communications officer. "No destruction, but they've cut all power and communications." Carter stood up, his decision made. "This is an act of war. All ships, move to defensive positions. Prepare to engage." Captain Alan Wright of the Earth Defense Force flagship Defiance received his orders with a steady hand. The Defiance was humanity's most advanced warship, built with technology that had been theoretical just a decade ago. "All crew to battle stations," he announced. "Weapons systems online." The Defiance led a fleet of 30 ships toward Jupiter, moving faster than any human vessels had moved before. They had been built for this moment, the day humanity would face an extraterrestrial threat. In the cold darkness of space, Zoraxian and human ships approached each other. Captain Krell watched the human response with mild surprise. "They're moving to engage us," Navigator Zex reported. "Their vessels are accelerating beyond what our scans indicated they were capable of." "It doesn't matter," Krell said confidently. "Show them our true power. One demonstration should be enough to make them surrender." The Zoraxian scouts formed an attack pattern, ready to disable more human targets. They didn't realize they had just provoked the most warlike species in the galaxy, one that had been preparing for alien threats for centuries. The first shots of the interstellar war were about to be fired. The first Zoraxian scout ship exploded in a brilliant flash of light. The blast sent debris spinning through the void of space. On the bridge of the Defiance *, Captain Alan Wright watched the tactical display with grim satisfaction. "Direct hit," reported his weapons officer, Susan Lee. "Their shields couldn't withstand our particle cannon." Wright nodded. "Target the next one. Show them we're not as primitive as they thought." Across the battlefield near Jupiter, the Zoraxian commanders couldn't believe what they were seeing. Commander Zal stared at his display as another Zoraxian vessel erupted in flames. "Impossible," he hissed. "Their technology is at least a century behind ours. Their weapons shouldn't be able to penetrate our shields." Captain Krell watched from the Conqueror as his scout fleet was being decimated. 6 ships destroyed in the first hour of combat. This had never happened before in his entire career. "How are they doing this?" he demanded. Science Officer Vex analyzed the battle data. "The humans are adapting to our shield frequencies. They're timing their attacks to hit precisely when our shields are most vulnerable." Back on Earth, in a secure underground lab, Dr. Lisa Garcia worked frantically with her team. Screens all around them showed the battle unfolding near Jupiter. The scientist pushed her glasses up and pointed to a pattern on her screen. "There, their shield modulation has a mathematical pattern," she explained to the team. "It repeats every 4.3 seconds, if we time our weapons to fire at the weak point in the cycle." Her colleague, Dr. Ben Howard, was already sending the data to the fleet, transmitting targeting solutions to all ships now. General Frank Rodriguez stood behind them, watching with amazement. "How did you figure this out so quickly?" Lisa smiled. "We've been preparing for this possibility for decades, running simulations, developing theories about alien technology. We just needed real data to confirm our models." In space, the human ships adjusted their attack strategy. The Defiance led a coordinated assault that caught the Zoraxians completely off guard. 3 more alien ships exploded within minutes. On the Conqueror alarm signals blared. Captain Krell made a decision he had never had to make before. "Order all remaining scout ships to retreat. Return to the safety of our position." Navigator Zex looked shocked. "Retreat? But Captain, these are just primitive humans." Krell's scales darkened with anger. "Look at the battlefield. Half our scouts destroyed in less than 2 hours. These humans are unlike any species we've encountered before." The remaining Zoraxian scouts pulled back, their engines glowing bright as they fled toward the outer solar system. On the Defiance the crew cheered as the alien ships retreated. Captain Wright allowed himself a small smile before turning serious again. "Don't celebrate yet," he warned. "This was just their advance force. They'll be back with reinforcements." Admiral Carter received the battle reports at Earth Defense Headquarters. The victory had been decisive, but had come with costs. 2 human ships destroyed, 3 others damaged. He opened a channel to the President. "Madam President, we've won the first engagement, but this is just the beginning." The President's face looked grave on the screen. "What do you need, Admiral?" "Everything we have. And everything we can build in the next few months. I need every scientist working on understanding their technology, every factory producing weapons and ships." Meanwhile, on the Zoraxian command ship, a different conversation was taking place. Admiral Thorne, the fleet commander, listened to Captain Krell's report with growing concern. "These humans destroyed half our scout fleet," Krell explained. "They adapted to our technology faster than should be possible." Admiral Thorne's tentacles moved in a pattern showing deep thought. "We must inform the Imperium. We need reinforcements." "The Imperium will not be pleased with our failure," Krell said quietly. "This is not a failure yet," Thorne replied. "This is intelligence gathering. Now we know these humans are not like other species we've conquered. They fight differently. They adapt." The Admiral moved to the communication array. "We will request the second battle fleet. 200 warships should be enough to handle even these unusual humans." As the Zoraxians prepared their message to the distant Imperium, the humans were already analyzing captured technology from the destroyed alien ships. The race to prepare for the next battle had begun. 6 months passed since the first battle with the Zoraxians. Earth had used this time well. Factories around the world worked day and night. Old enemies became allies as nations united against the common threat from the stars. Jack Newman, Earth's Secretary of Defense, stood before the United Nations Security Council. His normally neat suit was wrinkled from too many late nights. Dark circles showed under his eyes. "The long-range sensors we placed at the edge of our solar system have detected movement," he announced to the grim-faced leaders. "They're coming back, and they're bringing friends." The large screen behind him showed hundreds of dots moving toward Earth. Each dot represented a warship larger than anything humans had ever built. "How many?" asked the Chinese representative. 200 warships, Newman replied. "Our scientists estimate this fleet could destroy every major city on Earth in less than a day." The room fell silent. Then the German representative spoke up. "What are our chances?" Newman took a deep breath. "Better than you might think. For 6 months, every scientist and engineer on the planet has been studying the alien technology we recovered. We've learned a lot." In a military base in Nevada, Colonel Diane Foster led a team through a large hangar. Inside sat the prize of Earth's defense efforts, a damaged Zoraxian shuttle that had been captured after the first battle. "The aliens use a completely different approach to physics," she explained to a group of military leaders from around the world. "But we've made breakthroughs in understanding their shield technology, their weapons, and even their communication systems." Colonel Foster pointed to a team of scientists working on a section of the alien craft. "Dr. Garcia's team has even found a way to disrupt their communications. We might not match their technology, but we can confuse them, blind them." Admiral Carter joined the tour, nodding at Colonel Foster's explanation. "And there's something else we've learned by studying not just their technology, but their behavior." He pulled up footage from the first battle. "Look at how they fight. Perfect formation. Every ship follows orders exactly. No individual initiative. 10,000 years of victory has made them predictable." On the other side of the world, in an underground base beneath Mount Fuji, engineers were finishing work on humanity's new fleet. Drawing on technology from the captured Zoraxian vessel, they had upgraded Earth's defenses. Chief Engineer Roy Davis wiped sweat from his forehead as he inspected the new shield generator on the flagship Defender *. "Will it work?" asked his assistant. Roy nodded. "It won't make us invincible, but it should give us a fighting chance. The Zoraxians won't expect us to adapt so quickly." In homes across the planet, families prepared for the possibility of invasion. People built shelters, stored food and water, and trained for emergency situations. For the first time in human history, there were no major conflicts between nations. Everyone understood that they were now in a fight for survival as a species. Meanwhile, in the darkness of space beyond Pluto, the Zoraxian armada approached. Admiral Thorne stood on the bridge of the super dreadnought Inevitable Victory the most powerful warship in the Zoraxian fleet. "Report on the human defenses," he ordered. Commander Zal brought up a holographic display. "They've been busy, Admiral. We detect new orbital platforms, enhanced shields around their major cities, and a fleet of ships near their red planet." Nothing that can stand against 200 warships, Admiral Thorne said confidently. Especially not our new plasma cannons. Science Officer Vex studied the data with more concern. Admiral, I'm detecting unusual energy signatures. They seem to have adapted some of our technology. This shouldn't be possible in such a short time. Admiral Thorne's scales darkened slightly. It doesn't matter. The Imperium has ordered us to take this system, and take it we shall. The humans fought well in our first encounter, but they have never faced the full might of a Zoraxian battle fleet. He turned to his communications officer. Send word to all ships. We attack in 3 days. The Milky Way galaxy will learn why the ancient texts call us the conquerors of worlds. Back on Earth, as radar stations tracked the approaching armada, humanity prepared for the greatest battle in its history. The war room fell silent as Admiral Bill Taylor finished explaining his plan. The holographic map of the solar system glowed in the center of the table, highlighting the positions of Earth's forces in blue and the approaching Zoraxian fleet in red. Let me get this straight, said President Julia Morris, leaning forward in her chair. You want to let them in. Deliberately allow them past our outer defenses. Admiral Taylor nodded. His weathered face showed the confidence of someone who had spent 40 years in military strategy. Yes, Madam President, we draw them in, make them think they're winning. We'd be sacrificing our outer colonies and stations, pointed out General Ray Wilson. Mars Base, the Jupiter mining facilities, the Saturn research stations. Those facilities have already been evacuated, Taylor replied. We've moved all personnel to Earth or the hidden bases on Venus and Mercury. What we leave behind are automated defenses and decoys. Defense Secretary Newman studied the holographic display. The Zoraxians expect us to make our stand at Mars. If we instead appear to retreat, they'll pursue, Taylor finished. Their reports from the first battle show they're overconfident. They believe the first battle was a fluke. If they think we're running scared, they'll chase us deeper into the solar system. The president looked around the table at Earth's military leadership. And then what? Admiral Taylor pressed a button on the table controls. The hologram changed to show hidden fleet positions throughout the inner solar system. Then we spring our trap. Far from Earth, Captain Eric Johnson stood on the bridge of the Challenger *, one of Earth's newest warships. Around him, 50 vessels of various sizes formed up in Mars orbit. This fleet represented about 1/3 of Earth's total forces, the portion they were willing to risk in the opening gambit. All ships report ready, Captain, said his first officer, Linda Perez. Johnson nodded. Send to all captains. Remember the plan. We fight, we take losses, and then we run. Make it look good. The tension on the bridge was thick enough to cut with a knife. Every person there knew they were bait in a dangerous trap. If the Zoraxians didn't take the bait, or if they attacked with more force than expected, the decoy fleet could be completely destroyed. 3 days later, the Zoraxian armada entered the solar system. Admiral Thorne watched with satisfaction as his ships formed a perfect attack formation. The humans have positioned a fleet at the 4th planet, reported Commander Zal. Their numbers are smaller than our intelligence suggested. Admiral Thorne's scales rippled with pleasure. They're already afraid. This will be even easier than expected. The battle began with an overwhelming Zoraxian attack. Human ships fought bravely, destroying several alien vessels, but soon appeared to be overwhelmed by superior numbers. We can't hold them, Captain Johnson shouted as his ship shuddered from a direct hit. All ships, fall back to secondary positions. Retreat to Venus defense line. His acting was convincing. The Zoraxians detected the panicked communications between human vessels and pressed their advantage. They're running, Commander Zal reported to Admiral Thorne. Shall we pursue? Of course, Thorne replied. We'll chase them all the way back to their homeworld. Show no mercy. The Zoraxian fleet followed the retreating humans, spreading out their formation to pursue ships fleeing in different directions, exactly as Admiral Taylor had predicted. Hidden in the shadow of Venus Colonel Diane Foster watched the tactical display as the alien fleet entered the inner solar system. Her special operations team had spent months preparing for this moment. "The fleet is taking the bait," she reported to Earth Command. "They're spreading thin and extending their supply lines, just as we hoped." On Earth, Admiral Taylor watched the same tactical information with grim satisfaction. The Zoraxians are used to enemies who either stand and fight or surrender completely. They've never faced an enemy who uses retreat as a strategy. President Morris watched the display with concern. "When do we spring the trap?" "When they reach Saturn," Taylor replied. "That's where we've hidden our main fleet, in the rings and moons, where their sensors can't distinguish our ships from the natural debris." Secretary Newman checked the countdown timer. 4 days until they reach the target zone. "God help us if this doesn't work." Admiral Taylor's face showed absolute determination. "It will work, because it has to." For Earth, the rings of Saturn glowed softly in the dim sunlight. Ice particles and rocky debris formed beautiful patterns around the giant planet. Hidden among this natural beauty was Earth's main battle fleet, 300 ships of various sizes, all waiting in perfect silence. Admiral Peter Kelly, commander of the Hidden Fleet, checked his watch again. 1 hour until the Zoraxian fleet reaches the target zone. All ships maintain radio silence. His second-in-command nodded. They had been hiding here for 2 weeks, engines cold, using the natural debris of Saturn's rings as cover. Their ships were painted to match the ice and rock around them, making them nearly invisible to sensors. Meanwhile, the Zoraxian fleet approached with complete confidence. Their formation had spread out over millions of miles as they pursued the fleeing human ships. What had started as a tight, organized battle group was now a scattered collection of ships, each eager to claim the honor of capturing or destroying human vessels. Admiral Thorne watched the tactical display on the bridge of the Asterisk, Inevitable Victory Asterisk. "Where are the rest of their ships?" he wondered aloud. "Our intelligence suggested they had built more defenses. Perhaps they weren't as prepared as we thought," suggested Commander Zal. "The outer planets show no signs of major military installations." Science Officer Vex looked troubled. "Admiral, something doesn't feel right." "The humans are retreating too, predictably." Admiral Thorne dismissed her concerns. "They're simply outmatched. Victory is within our grasp." As the lead elements of the Zoraxian fleet passed into Saturn's orbit, Admiral Kelly gave the order that would change the course of the war. "All ships, power up. Attack pattern Omega. Commence operation." Throughout Saturn's rings, human warships came to life. Engines flared blue against the blackness of space as they emerged from hiding. The trap was sprung. Lieutenant Olivia Martinez piloted her fighter through the debris field with expert precision. Her squadron of 12 fighters headed straight for the nearest Zoraxian cruiser. "Remember your training," she told her pilots. "Target their command centers first, then communications. Don't give them time to organize." The Zoraxians were caught completely by surprise. Accustomed to fighting enemies who faced them head-on, they had no defense against an attack from all directions at once. Human ships emerged from Saturn's moons, from the rings, even from hiding places within the larger chunks of ice. On the Asterisk, Inevitable Victory Asterisk, alarms blared as sensors detected the human fleet. "We're surrounded," shouted Commander Zal in disbelief. "How did they hide so many ships?" Admiral Thorne's scales darkened with rage. "Order all ships to defensive positions." This was a trap. But his orders couldn't reach most of his fleet. The human attack had targeted communications systems first, using technology reverse-engineered from the captured Zoraxian shuttle. Cut off from Central Command, each alien ship was forced to fight on its own. Lieutenant Martinez's fighter squadron reached their target, a Zoraxian cruiser 10 times the size of their small craft. Using the attack pattern they had practiced hundreds of times, they targeted specific points on the massive ship. "Aim for the communication array," Martinez ordered. "Then the bridge, just like we practiced." The human fighters fired precise shots at the vulnerable points they had identified from studying the captured Zoraxian technology. The cruiser's shields flickered and failed as key systems went offline. Across the battlefield, the same scene played out dozens of times. The previously unstoppable Zoraxian fleet found itself divided, confused, and under attack from an enemy that seemed to know exactly where to strike. Admiral Kelly watched from his flagship as the battle unfolded. "The Zoraxians are used to enemies who fear them," he told his bridge crew. "We studied them. We learned from them. And now we're beating them at their own game." On Earth, President Morris received the first reports from Saturn with tears in her eyes. "It's working," she whispered. Secretary Newman nodded solemnly. "The Battle of Saturn will go down in history as humanity's finest hour." As the battle continued, the Zoraxian fleet began to break apart. For the first time in 10,000 years, the mighty Zoraxian Imperium faced not just defeat, but humiliation. 1 month after the Battle of Saturn, Earth's War Council gathered again. The mood was different this time. Maps showing the defeated Zoraxian fleet covered the walls. Only 40 of their 200 warships had escaped back toward the edge of the solar system. Admiral Steve Clark stood before the council. Unlike many of his colleagues, he had not participated in the Saturn battle. Instead, he had been studying the captured Zoraxian technology with a specific goal in mind. "We've won the battle, but not the war," he began. "The Zoraxian Imperium spans an entire galaxy. They will send more ships." President Morris nodded. "How long do we have?" "Based on the communication signals we intercepted, at least 1 year before their next fleet arrives," Clark replied. "But I'm proposing we don't wait for them to come to us again." He pressed a button, and a new hologram appeared. It showed a detailed map of the path the retreating Zoraxian ships had taken. "We've tracked their departure route. We know where they came from," Clark continued. "I propose we follow them back through their own entry point into the Andromeda Galaxy." The room erupted in shocked voices. Defense Secretary Newman was the first to regain his composure. "You want to invade their galaxy? With what? We lost almost a third of our fleet at Saturn." Clark smiled. "With this." He showed designs for a new ship, the Humanity's Hope *, built using everything we've learned from Zoraxian technology. Faster, stronger shields, better weapons, and most importantly, a stealth system that will hide us from their sensors. Dr. Nickel Williams stepped forward. The chief xenolinguist had spent months studying Zoraxian communications. "There's something else you should know about the Zoraxians. They're a hive mind society. Not completely, like insects, but their psychology is built around central authority and group thinking." She displayed brain scans of captured Zoraxian crew members. "They're not used to individual thought or initiative. Every ship waits for orders instead of adapting to new situations. That's why our strategy at Saturn worked so well." Admiral Clark nodded. "Exactly. We won't try to fight their entire empire. We'll target their communication hubs and command centers, create confusion in their ranks." The council debated for hours. Finally, President Morris made her decision. "Admiral Clark, you have 1 month to prepare your ship and crew for this mission. Choose the best we have." 3 months later, the newly commissioned Humanity's Hope left Earth orbit. The sleek black ship was unlike anything humans had built before. Its hull absorbed light rather than reflecting it, making it nearly invisible against the backdrop of space. Captain Clark stood on the bridge, looking at his hand-picked crew. "Today we make history," he told them. "The first humans to leave our galaxy." The Humanity's Hope followed the path of the retreating Zoraxian ships, accelerating to speeds that would have been impossible before humans studied alien technology. As they approached the edge of the solar system, sensors detected the unusual space-time distortion that marked the Zoraxians' entry point. "It's some kind of stable wormhole," explained Science Officer Liam Jackson. "The Zoraxians must have technology to create these gateways between galaxies." "Can we pass through safely?" asked Clark. Jackson nodded. "Based on our analysis of their ship logs, yes. But once we're through, we'll be in their territory. Millions of light years from home." Clark's face showed firm resolve. "We knew the risks when we volunteered. Earth is counting on us." The massive ship approached the invisible gateway. Strange energies washed over its hull as space itself seemed to bend around them. "All systems functioning normally," reported Chief Engineer Grace Chen. "The Zoraxian-based shields are holding." With a flash of light that no human eyes had ever witnessed before, the Humanity's Hope passed through the gateway into the Andromeda Galaxy. The view screen showed an alien sky with unfamiliar star patterns stretching into infinity. "We made it," whispered Clark. "Stealth systems at maximum. Set course for the nearest Zoraxian communication hub." As the Humanity's Hope moved silently through Zoraxian space, the crew could barely comprehend the enormity of what they had done. They were the first humans to visit another galaxy, not as explorers, but as warriors bringing the fight to an enemy that had never experienced defeat. The counter-invasion had begun. 2 years had passed since the Zoraxian Imperium first entered the Milky Way. In that time, everything had changed. The Humanity's Hope and the small fleet that followed it had struck deep into Zoraxian territory. They targeted communication centers, command bases, and supply lines rather than civilian populations. The elegant meeting hall on Earth's moon was filled with representatives from both galaxies. Humans sat on one side, their faces serious but proud. Zoraxians sat on the other, their scales shimmering under the lights. High Elder Zorn, leader of the Zoraxian Council, placed his 6 tentacles flat on the table in the gesture of peace. For 10,000 years, the Zoraxian Imperium ruled Andromeda without challenge. We believed ourselves to be superior to all other life forms. He turned his 4 eyes toward the human delegation. We were wrong. Ambassador Paul Martinez, chosen to represent humanity in these historic talks, nodded in acknowledgement. "The conflict between our people has cost both sides dearly, but it has also opened new possibilities for understanding." The document between them glowed softly on the table surface. The Treaty of Luna would establish boundaries between the galaxies and recognize each species' sovereignty. "Our ancient texts didn't warn us to fear the Milky Way," continued High Elder Zorn. "They warned us to respect it. Our ancestors encountered humans thousands of years ago, when both our species were young. They recognized something in your kind that we have forgotten." Science Officer Vex, now promoted to the Council of Elders, added, "Humans adapt faster than any species we have encountered. You embrace change rather than fearing it. In just 2 years, you matched technology that took us millennia to develop." President Morris signed the treaty with a steady hand. "We hope this marks the beginning of peaceful exchange between our galaxies." High Elder Zorn pressed his tentacle into the special ink, leaving his mark next to the human signature. "So it shall be." 6 months later, the starship Unity prepared for its maiden voyage. Unlike the warships that had come before it, the Unity was designed for exploration and diplomacy. Its crew was primarily human, but included 5 Zoraxian officers in an exchange program. Captain Laura Bennett stood on the observation deck, looking out at the stars. She had fought in the first battle against the Zoraxian scouts as a junior officer. Now she commanded a ship that symbolized peace between the galaxies. "Quite a view, isn't it?" said Zex, the Zoraxian science officer assigned to the Unity. Bennett nodded. "I never thought I'd see Zoraxians and humans working together." "Your species surprised us," admitted Zex. "We came looking for resources, for planets to conquer. Instead, we found something far more valuable." "What's that?" asked Bennett. "A mirror," replied Zex. "You showed us our own flaws. 10,000 years of victory had made us arrogant, inflexible. We stopped growing as a civilization. Back on Earth, other changes were unfolding. The technology adapted from Zoraxian ships had transformed human society. Cleaner energy, faster transportation, advanced medicine, all developing at an incredible pace, and Earth was no longer alone. Representatives from a dozen species in the Andromeda Galaxy had reached out, eager to form alliances with the humans who had done the impossible, defeated the mighty Zoraxian Imperium. Admiral Steve Clark, now retired from active service, sat in his garden watching the sunset. A reporter had come to interview him about the war. "Do you think we would have won if they had sent their entire fleet initially?" the young reporter asked. Clark chuckled. "Probably not. But that's the thing about humanity that the Zoraxians never understood until it was too late. We don't have to win every battle to win the war. We learn, we adapt, we change our strategies. And we never, ever give up." As night fell over Earth, the stars appeared one by one. Somewhere among them, the Unity set out on its voyage of discovery. The Milky Way remained forbidden to conquerors, but open to those who came in peace, under the watchful protection of humanity. The unexpected guardians of a galaxy that even the mighty Zoraxian Imperium had learned to respect.